Hi friends, thanks for joining me on my course on wealth strategy or wealth creation, what I like to call sustainable wealth. And I know you may have seen other courses that are how to get rich quick, frankly. Well, this is not how to get rich quick. This is not the 5 easy steps to instant riches. That's a different course. This course is about the real deal of achieving real sustainable wealth. To do that, you have to understand what it is. It is not just money. And I know we would all like, and I'm sure everybody taking this course is sort of thinking, come on, man, just show me the money. Remember that? Show me the money. Give me the Ferrari. Where's my Porsche? Where's my big house? Where's my big bank account, etc. That's not what this course is about. Now, this course may help you get there. If you put in the work, it can help you get there. But it's about understanding what real wealth is. And there are antecedents at each step. There's a sequence of wealth creation. And it's like human growth. You know, you first have to learn to walk. And then when you learn to walk, you have to learn to speak. And you have to learn to read, right? And one thing follows another. Well, wealth creation is the same way. There are some things that precede the money. And if you don't get that, then you ain't going to get to the money. So let's understand that. Here are the goals of the course. To understand what I call the 5 circles of wealth, 5 forms of wealth, or 5 forms of capital. I'll explain that very shortly. And you can apply these both to your personal life or to your business. And I'm going to just assume, for the sake of argument, that you're an entrepreneur, or you want to be an entrepreneur, or you're a manager in a company, and you want to build wealth in your company. So I'm going to apply these forms of wealth, and you can call them forms of capital also, to both your personal pursuit and to the development of a business. So that's goal number 1. Goal number 2 is to understand the sequence of how one leads to the other, and we'll go through that. And then there's sort of what it is, and then there's what do we have to do to get it, right? And there's a process of self-discipline, self-development, self-management, that you must have. Everybody who achieves excellence in any field of endeavor, whether it's business or the arts or athletics, one thing they have in common is their ability to self-manage, self-discipline, self-learning, self-development. And I'm going to give you a 4D process for developing that. And at each of the 5 components of wealth, we're going to talk about how to apply that 4D model to the development of your assets or your wealth. So that's what we're going to do at each step. Now, first thought, and this is a big thought, but it gets to what is wealth. You know who these 2 old guys are? One on the left and one on the right, and there's significance that one's on the left and one's on the right. They lived in the good old days of capitalism. The good old days of capitalism were when money was it. You had to have money to make money. Money in, work, money out, right? If you had the capital, you could build a steel business. You could buy the land, you could buy the equipment, you could hire the engineers, you could get all the stuff you need to make steel and sell steel. All you had to have was the capital, then everything else could follow from that. But J.P. Morgan and Karl Marx also believed money was capital. Now, he didn't like it. He railed against capitalism. But he believed in capitalism as capital, as financial capital, financial assets. That was true in the mid-1800s. There's no doubt about that. Is it true today? Well, J.P. Morgan did not create Google or Facebook or Microsoft or Dell Computer or any one of a dozen other companies I'm sure you can quickly name who are companies of the internet, information technology, global age. Is it the same thing today as creating that steel mill? Is it simply money that we need to start a business? And the answer is absolutely, definitely not. Money is floating around in the air looking for some place to land, and what is it going to land on? What did Mark Zuckerberg have, or Sergey Brin, or other people who started the great internet companies of today? what they had, and they often were, in college dormitories. They didn't have a bunch of money. What they had was an idea, and they had faith, belief in that idea, and they had the persistence, the energy, the work ethic to pursue that idea. And that's what created wealth. So we're going to come back and we're going to look at, so old forms of capital, new forms of capital. But my idea is sort of based on a premise of understanding the age that we live in. And if you just think very quickly, I won't go into this in depth, the nature of work has transformed. In the pre-industrial age, I mean, you go back to hunting antelope on the Serengeti Plains, you had tribes, right? Hunters, gatherers. And then you had the family farm and the small craft shop. Then there were small units, small work units, largely family units, and there was intimacy, high social intimacy. And then what happened in the industrial age with Henry Ford's factory and Frederick Taylor and scientific management, we specialized work, we narrowed work. In the craft shop, you made a whole piece of furniture, you signed your name to it. You knew who the customer was. It was probably custom made for that customer. There was intimacy between you and the customer and the product you made. Henry Ford's factory, that got lost. We said, just do your own work. We specialized work, we narrowed work. The work became dumber in a sense. You didn't have intimacy with the people you worked with, and you didn't have intimacy with the customer, right? So it became a dehumanized workplace, and that dehumanization of the workplace led to revolt, led to the union movement, rebellion against that system, which was inherently inhumane. And we created the many forms of humanistic management, from Hertzberg and McGregor to Stephen Covey to lots of different authors and writers, and including Toyota Production System and lean management, a whole new way of organizing work that have now both economic efficiency, high productivity, but also social intimacy. And we have gone from making stuff when land mattered, and then money mattered in the industrial age, to now what really matters is knowledge and relationships. Remember that, knowledge and relationships, knowledge and relationships. Wealth is built today on knowledge, human competence, and social relationships. Now let's take a look at the 5 forms of wealth briefly, and we'll come back and go over this in much more depth as we go through the course. First, there is what I call spiritual capital, and that is not religion. Religion may help you achieve spiritual capital, but spiritual capital is distinct. It is true north. It is where we are going and why we are going there. It is a belief in a worthy purpose. My first advice to you is get yourself a worthy purpose, a why. Why are you living? What do you want it to say on your tombstone? What is your contribution to your community, your family, your country, and to this planet? What is your contribution going to be? Meditate on that. That's your purpose, your worthy purpose. Then there is also a set of values. All organizations, whether they are explicit or implicit, all organizations hold together and run together because of a common set of values. And this goes back to the tribe. The tribe had a common set of values where people understood the hierarchy, people understood who made decisions, people understood the values of honesty and integrity and how we work together. And that was the lubricant that enabled people to work together. So a strong set of values and a strong set of common purpose comprise spiritual capital. That then enables, and just think about the sequence here. Social capital is trust. Within an organization, it is trust among team members, trust among teams, between teams, trust with the company, the purpose of the company, the leadership of the company. The degree to which that exists, we are willing to do things based on that trust. We are willing to commit based on that trust. Social capital within, and then there is social capital with the marketplace. You may call it brand equity. The degree to which people in the external marketplace trust and value your company and your products or services of your company, that is brand equity or a form of social capital. You also need human capital, competence, and motivation. For the rest of your life, I recommend to you, as someone who's been through a lot of life, I'm older than you are, I think. Most people watching this, I'm pretty sure I'm older than you. I'm in my 70s, and I'm still learning. I'm still challenged. I'm still growing. Very important. Don't ever be satisfied. You've got to develop competence, and you've got to develop motivation. And you have to manage it yourself because no one else cares. It's up to you. What are you learning? How are you growing? What is motivating you? How are you motivating yourself? You must have what I call creative dissatisfaction, which is the gap between where I am and where I could be, and I'm constantly trying to close that gap. I'm not dissatisfied neurotically, but I'm creatively dissatisfied in that I know where I am and I know there are things I need to do to get to where I want to be. So that's creative dissatisfaction, and that's the core of motivation. Now just think, if you have that spiritual capital and that social capital, the values, the purpose, the trust, the relationships, and you have human competence and you have motivation, that then enables you to innovate. And the world we live in, and the world in which you will be living for the rest of your life, is a world in which you cannot stand still. You must continuously improve products and services. Constantly. You must have creative dissatisfaction in terms of how you do things and what you do, what you produce. And out of that dissatisfaction, and based on those three former forms of capital, you will innovate. You will innovate in product and in services. How you deliver things, how you create things, that innovation is what builds a business. Now, if you have those four things, you're engaged in all those five forms of wealth creation, you will have money. Money will fall in your lap, so to speak. Not literally, but you get it. I mean, you get it. If you're innovating and you're doing all those other things, you have those relationships, the marketing skills, the innovation skills, the technology skills, you're going to create the wealth. And they're basically, to break that down, there are two major forms of wealth. One is cash flow. Money in and money out, and you want to keep that cash flow going for as long as you can and as broadly or large as you can, right? And then there's asset accumulation. There's the balance sheet, what you put in the bank or in land or wherever you choose to put it. Those are the two forms of financial capital. So that's wealth. Wealth is all five of those things, and there's a relationship between them. I hope you see that. Now, we're going to talk about the 4D process: discover, dream, design, and do it, and develop it as we go through this. And this is the discipline process. So I'll come back and I'll talk about that later as well. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining me.